we'll start off with, is Lane Kiffin, is he okay being the biggest villain in college football this year? Because other than LSU fans who are watching us right now, as we get going here on Sport and State, presented by Hard Rock Bet, other than LSU, is there anybody cheering for LSU now? They are at the forefront of bringing these NFL players back after bringing in 65 or whatever portal guys in. Lane Kiffin seems to be okay being the villain.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't figure him out early, but I think he has accepted that role. You know, when he went through the Ole Miss and, you know, giving up and taking the LSU job, it seemed like, or even last year at this time when he was talking about his sobriety, he was kind of doing a PR cleanse. But then after everything went down from the transition to Ole Miss to LSU, I think he just embraces it now and rolls with it.
Brown, we had the old boy from the Grove, the collective at Ole Miss yesterday, Walker, what was his name?
Walker Jones.
Walker Jones, saying that, well, we brought in the FBI and did a wiretap sweep of the football building after Lane left.
I mean, that seems a bit extra. I'm sure the FBI was like, really? Really? This is what we're
doing? You know who
now?
never did that? Layla. Ever.
I mean, the FBI guys had me, hey, guys, I'm going to need y'all to step in the office here. We got a case for you. All right. They're like, yeah, who we chasing down?
I mean, he is.
I'm going to send you
Which mob boss are we after now?
I'll send you to the Ole Miss building.
I know you've been a fan of his. Look, and he's a great play caller, but he is a snake. He just is.
Seems to be. Here's Lane Kiffin yesterday in Baton Rouge on the decision to recruit players like Daquan Wright, who have suited up for the NFL, and right now LSU has 2 of them that are coming back.
So, you know, we have, you know, made a decision to recruit some kids around the country. And, you know, through these multiple injunctions around the country, which this is not a first time, they've been in college sports for a while, a group of players were granted a 5th year of eligibility around the country in multiple sports. And through them winning their injunction and entry into the portal, they're available to recruit. And so ourselves, like many places around the country, are recruiting them. And at the end of the day, you know, because of these rulings, they're either going to play for you or they're going to play somewhere else around the country. So we've made a decision to recruit them, like probably most people are.
I give him credit, though. That's transparency. Yep. It's not what Dan Lanning said yesterday, and you brought up the fact if Dante Moore ended up coming back out, how would Lanning react? I kind of agree with you that Lanning probably would go out and allow Dante Moore to come back if he thought it would help him win games. But, I mean, that is the fact of the matter. Like, if we start seeing these rulings, and, again, I don't know how 5 and 5 is going to work and relate to that, but if people are able to sign these guys, they're either going to play for you or against you.
But the Big Ten today is saying, developing news this morning, the Big Ten is saying they're not going to allow these players to return in their conference. The SEC presidents are meeting today. Now, this was already planned out for the presidents to be in Birmingham today and tomorrow to meet on self-governance. But they will discuss this. They already put out a statement last night. We could see the SEC follow the Big Ten today and saying, Lane, you can't play these players.
I don't think there's any way the Big Ten goes ahead and does this if they don't think the SEC and probably the ACC and Big 12 and Notre Dame are all going to do it as well.
I mean, Big 12, they got different sponsorships, different logo sizes.
Yeah.
What I would say
I love how you
is, I think the Big Ten and SEC will lock this out more than likely, and Texas Tech is going to get some new players.
You think the Big 12's like, hey, we're a renegade conference by nature? We're in the Midwest. We got guns up. We're a renegade. We got Cowboys.
I wouldn't be surprised because back to the biggest villain, he is the biggest villain. Dabo's hokey. Lincoln Riley's hokey, but he's never won anything. You know, for a minute, Joey McGuire and Texas Tech were going to be that villain right alongside with Lane Kiffin if Sorsby would have gotten eligible.
Oh, yeah.
So they've got an opportunity still to bounce back and maybe grab some of these players. But I agree with you guys. I don't think the Big Ten would have done this unless they knew the SEC was going to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how the Big Ten makes that risk because there are considerable players flooding back now, and they're good ones. They were good enough to be drafted in the NFL, so these are not bum players. This actually could be how the group of 5 claws back in a little bit. Like if the group of 5 gets together and says, it's not the best look in the world, but if the SEC is going to say no and the Big Ten is going to say no, can we take them? Can I take them at Memphis? Can I take them at Boise? Can I take them not really Navy. That's a different story, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there.
but let me ask
Now, I
you
don't
guys.
think they can pay them the money that these guys need to do that. That's going to be your factor there.
I mean, Daquan Wright, roughly 40 grabs last year, 5 touchdowns. He's, 6'4", 240 pounds. How would he be in Kalen DeBoer's system with Keelan Russell?
Oh,
would be fantastic.
I'm just saying this is a weapon for a lot of teams out there.
Yeah.
Well, Xavier Harris, another Ole Miss player who has committed to go to LSU, 6'8", 330. The best part about him was he bashed Lane Kiffin about leaving Ole Miss
I know.
to go to LSU, and now he's going to follow him to LSU after going to the NFL.
We're all hypocrites. I mean, we are in some regard or another. We
Yeah,
some people
everyone
don't
finds-
separate.
yeah, I know.
They don't space it out long enough.
I know. Yeah, that's right, dude. If you're going to be a hypocrite, let some time
Yeah.
pass, right? I mean, it just shows you that money can fix that and playing time can fix that. And, he's sawing into the road, at least now for the NFL. Where are you going to go?
What was the wildest story you guys came across 20 years ago when we had that ridiculous? Who was the big booster out of Memphis that fell down the stairs,
Logan
killed
Young.
himself?
Yeah, Logan Young.
Fell up the stairs.
Fell up
technically.
the stairs. Yeah, when you would see these little stories back then, we were like, man, people are nuts about college football. But if you went and just looked at the different stories in line right now on ESPN's college football, when you're talking about bugging and NFL players returning, I mean, where are we right now in this college? It's bizarro world.
Yeah, it really is. And if you had told me all of this back then, I would have said, boy, college football is struggling.
Yeah, you would say it's
man.
broken. Yeah, they've had to do something to make it work.
It has lost its fan base. It has lost its way.
We did a 30 for 30 on an entire program that got penalty flags for dancing and showboating the Miami Hurricanes, the U back in the day. And they were the bad boys back then. That's just having a good time on a Saturday.
Aaron
now.
Dickerson's Trans Am was a big deal.
Yeah, go watch one of the best 30 for 30s that is done is the SMU one, Pony Excess. Great name, too. I mean, it was perfect. Go watch it now. And you're like, how on earth?
That's it?
It's not a blip on the radar right
That's
now.
9 to 5 business now.
It's not a blip on the radar what those guys are doing.
Yeah,
back
even
then.
the movie Blue Chips. Like if you go watch, what all those guys got, you're like, damn, that's a normal day. That's a Tuesday.
We need a new tractor for the farm.
Not a problem.
Not a
That's all
problem.
you want.
Yeah, what brand?
Were you playing basketball?
You need a plow. What else do you need? Need a new mule? All right, let's hear from Pete Golding. Poor Pete Golding, man. He's left at Ole Miss having to answer questions. Can you imagine Golding yesterday? Hey, you've got a media availability today. Okay, great. Is there anything I need to be worried about? Well, your guy of the NIL went on a podcast last night and talked about FBI wiretaps when Kiffin left. What? Yeah, you're probably going to have to explain that. Here's Pete Golding explaining how the whole FBI looking for bugs in the Ole Miss football building after Kiffin left went down last year.
I think over the weekend, Walker kind of mentioned a story that y'all had the FBI come through and sweep the Manning room for bugs after the coaching deal. Did that happen?
Say that again?
There's a story over the weekend that Walker Jones told about having the FBI come in through the Manning Center and sweep the room for bugs after Lane left. Just was that happening?
I think any bowl game playoff system, obviously you're going to up security. I'm not sure that there was a hiring process of here we go with the FBI. I do think we probably have a current player whose dad just so happens to work for the FBI that lives in town, that from that standpoint, there was no measure to go, oh my gosh, here, come in from that standpoint. But no, obviously, anytime you get in that playoff system and you had guys from this building go to other places, you want to make sure it's secure for your players. Nothing from our standpoint, but the video access and everything else and all those things that you're doing regardless where you're at. I mean, that's no different when, in the semis and the quarters, regardless where you're at for the hotels that you're staying in. Like, you've got to up the security. People are in and out, and you're sweeping trash cans. I mean, that's been done for the history of ball. So, no, there was no hiring process of, hey, let's get the FBI in here. Holy cow, let's start looking around. No, it wasn't anything like that.
Paranoia will destroy you, right? Like
I didn't know we were running through the Marriotts and the JWs at bowl games.
I don't think we're doing that.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, and we've had some paranoid coaches that we've known, and I've never heard of upped security measures.
I would be shocked if this is not true now that it came on record, right?
Oh,
Like,
100%.
Yeah, I mean, they
Well,
really
even he
did
said,
this.
well, technically we didn't hire the NBA. We happen to have a current player whose dad is with the FBI,
yeah.
and he came by and maybe used his equipment.
Maybe some of his buddies were with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, students, that just a random student.
Yeah.
Hey, I know little Johnny in Biology 101. His dad is part of the bureau.
He wants to be in the FBI.
It's crazy, the sound. Now, the Big Ten and other coaches having to answer this. Tyler, if you'll give me cut 9, here's Ryan Day. Now, this was yesterday. Ryan Day, the head coach at number 1 Ohio State, getting asked about NFL players returning to college football. His conference now has passed a rule that doesn't allow players to return from the NFL to his conference, and here's why maybe that rule was okay with Ryan Day.
Yeah, I told myself I would stop saying that this is crazy because it's just, it sounds, so I'm not going to say that. But to think that we're in a situation where we're this late in the season and our rosters are not locked in is frustrating at the very least. But if there are teams that have some players out there who are cut from NFL rosters that are going to be on other teams, we have to at least consider it and look at it. Do I like anything about it? Absolutely not. But we got to do what's right for Ohio State. So it's sort of a day-to-day thing right now. And like anything, we're just going to try to adapt. But I think we would all agree, maybe not everybody, but that, there has to be a certain point where your roster gets locked in. But whenever I heard that we were in a meeting and someone says, LSU just got a commitment from the Browns tight end, I said, we are certainly in a different world right now.
I mean, I will say this. Both he and Kiffin are pretty honest in that saying Kiffin was a little more, aggressive than Day, but both of them were like, if everybody else is going to do it, we're going to do it too.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
What they're saying.
Like, I like when it's equitable. And look, in college football is not equitable in the sense that Ohio State is McDonald's and there's other checkers out there, brands. So, like, the budgets are always going to be different. But if you just have a universal rule that's pretty simple, once these guys have gone to the NFL, once they're a professional, they can't come back. I understand it's professional football to a degree now, but if you all go by that universal rule, then everybody abides by it.
As Volfan 2053 says in the YouTube chat, the guy who went out and spent $35 million on a roster the first year is shocked things are escalating quickly. I mean, that is true of Ryan Day.
Remember, we didn't even believe that it was $30 million when they came out with Will Howard and Chip Kelly, and we were all like, man, there's no way $30 million, and now that's child's play.
Doesn't get you in the top 10.
That's minimum wage.
Hey, I was right. We have some quarterback battles that have been settled now, and we have one developing this morning.
I'm really surprised at one of these.
And Brooks, give me Brooks' microphone. Brooks said, my favorite phrase in broadcasting for 35 years. I love it. It doesn't happen often up here for sure. It doesn't happen often.
It doesn't happen with Maggie Dunaway either much.
It doesn't happen with Maggie Dunaway either. What phrase did you use this morning?
You were right, Jim.
You were right, Jim. What was I right about, Brooks?
That Blaze, how do you say his last name?
Berlowitz
is the starting quarterback for the Vanderbilt Commodores.
I've never heard you say this.
Oh, you must have been off.
Yeah, I must have been.
He said it multiple times.
Okay, I do. I remember because
he said, I got a feeling that this guy's going to wind up being
I don't understand it. Look, I know Tim Beck's got familiarity, and they're trying to recapture this Diego Pavia magic, a guy coming from New Mexico State. He doesn't have the experience. Jared Curtis is the money that you've invested in. You have a buffer year if you're Clark Lee. I don't think Berlowitz is going to go out and wow the SEC. Why would you not play the future? If Jared Curtis is as good as everybody believes, he's playing 3 years and he's gone anyway.
Wasn't this the whole reason he came to Vanderbilt was because he was not going to get playing time at Georgia as a freshman?
He didn't want to be behind Gunnar Stockton.
That's right. I mean, I think he thought that was his path to the field, and he looked at Pavia, and at the time, it appeared Pavia was going to be out of eligibility, but the rules changed quickly, so I think he thought, I'm on the field.
And Deshaun Watson, like, the more you look at the situation, the first 2 games for the Browns are on the road. So you understand, like, throwing Shador out there 2 road games to begin the season might be a little more difficult for him than Deshaun. This is what's weird is Vanderbilt opens up with Austin Peay. It's a great opponent for Jared Curtis to go out, get the reps, build confidence before you get into SEC play. None of this makes sense to me, but look, I mean, I don't think Tim Beck and Clark Lee would make this decision if it wasn't in the best benefit of the team, but it just is weird to me. But good call from you. I never saw this coming.
Yeah, I'd just been paying attention to Vanderbilt in the spring and then in camp, and they just kept raving about this guy because of his knowledge of the playbook. They'd been with him from New Mexico State. They came over with the coordinator, and I just had a gut feeling that it was closer than people said. I'm like you guys. I thought eventually you just got to go with the 5-star.
I mean, we're talking
they
about,
they probably will.
They probably will. I just think we're conditioned to think when Vanderbilt gets a 5-star quarterback that they took from Georgia, that he's going to play day one. I mean, why would you not have thought that? I mean, that was just the natural assumption, right?
That's right.
Vanderbilt is got. This is not Ohio State stealing a 5-star from, or Alabama, or Texas. This is Vanderbilt doing it, so you just assumed he was going to start right away.
And where did we see him on set a couple of months ago? Like, I don't know if it was one of the big shows on ESPN or SEC Network, but I mean, he was running around with a football.
I think he was up on McAfee show, wasn't he? Was he on
Yeah,
McAfee
he was.
show?
That's where he made the announcement.
Yeah.
So, like, you're on. I mean, just,
no, it was with the comedian that's paying for him.
Oh, Nate Bargatze.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. He
Yeah,
and
but
Nate
it was on
Bargatze were on McAfee show. Yeah.
But I mean, you look at this schedule.
The comedian that's paid. I mean, the world of college football right now is so crazy.
It is.
The Vanderbilt quarterback that the comedian is paying to play at Vanderbilt. Yes.
I will back this up though. So they open with Austin Peay. Week 2, they've got Delaware. So is there a chance Berlowitz starts Austin Peay, Curtis starts Delaware before they get to NC State, the buffer before they play on the road in Jordan-Hare against Auburn to begin the SEC schedule? NC State's going to be a bear of a game for them. So you got to have it figured out. But do you think there's a possibility that Curtis would start against Delaware?
At least what you're saying is at some point, does Blaze start the season and finish the season as a starter? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know when that switch becomes Jared Curtis. But
well, in the NFL, you hear, deep in October, November, when you're kind of out of the playoff race is when you see some of these rookie quarterbacks come in.
What you expect from Mendoza in Vegas, right?
Yeah. And with Vanderbilt, I mean, after their first 3 games, they should be 0-3 in the SEC, and they're pretty much done, right? I mean, they lose at Auburn, they lose at Georgia, and they lose at home to Ole Miss. You're 0-3 in conference. At that time, you got to roll him out.
Got to roll him out.